Are you okay to start? Okay. So Mary and I will be discussing structural religion in terms of consciousness. So, introduction to structural religion, looking at organized and official parts of religion. It's about studying how religion is set up, who's in charge, and the things they do regularly, what they believe, and the customs that make that religion unique. When we talk about understanding structural religion, it means looking at the organized parts that help the religion work as a collective group, finding understanding in what the meaning of life is. Collective consciousness is a popular framework discussions of consciousness due to its emphasis on shared beliefs and values within social groups. The term was introduced by the French sociologist Durkheim in 1893. This framework explores how group dynamics and cultural elements influence individual perspectives and behaviors. This framework provides a holistic view of consciousness, recognizing its collective and social nature, making it relevant across disciplines like sociology, psychology, and cultural studies. The concept is valuable for understanding societal dynamics, cultural identity, and the impact of communities on individual experiences. In diverse fields, it contributes to its widespread use in exploring contemporary issues related to identity, diversity, and global understandings. This typical type of framework in relation to consciousness, there are intertwined aspects within a religious community. Structural religion focuses on the organized elements such as beliefs, rituals, and leadership, while collective consciousness involves shared awareness and values. These two concepts influence each other. Their structured aspects of religion shape collective consciousness, fostering a shared identity and understanding among community members. Simultaneously, the collective consciousness influences the structure by impacting beliefs, practices, and adaptations within the religious community. Together, they contribute to the cohesion, identity, and evolution of a particular religious tradition. It allows for the exploration of the intricate relationship between individual and collective experiences, shedding light on the complexities of human society. Shown below are images from the humanities and art source that I chose called The Sacred and Secular. It's a photography book showcasing various collective consciousnesses being displayed in communities' environment. These images document the organized elements of religion, sacred spaces, and emphasizing the significance of beliefs across different communities, while capturing collective consciousness where individuals come together and shared religious experiences and values. Also, these photos were taken over the course of a century, so it shows just the evolution of religious practices. So discussion question, how do the organized elements of structural religion contribute to the development of a shared awareness and collective identity within a religious community? And if you guys want to break out in groups or just like raise your hands, whatever you want to do. Do you want to share in groups or? Just stay together, okay. Like, why do, like, what is the point of a structural religion? How does a shared awareness, a collective identity, like bring people together? Like, what is the point of sharing this collective consciousness? Like, why are people drawn to it? And like, why is a religion holding on to that idea? Yeah.
It's like kind of easier to know what your end goal is. It kind of like makes me wonder if there wasn't any sort of structural religion at all in the entire universe, like would we all have, like, is it just natural to form a structural religion? Is that something that's unavoidable because of our collective consciousness, or is religion something that we made and sort of like the idea of collective consciousness came out? Doesn't really answer the question, but
No,
I think like that is a question that I have.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it's like Cause humans always wanna like group together, there's like, it starts off as safety in numbers, but then it goes into like, oh, you share some more interest to me, and then it goes to, you know, some more thought process to me, so like, I guess you could say like, oh, you believe the same thing I do, like, make a group out of it, and have all the people that we know be in that, and then that just gets like bigger and bigger until we have individual religions, and maybe it just makes people feel less isolated, it makes people feel more
Yeah.
connected to each other.
And not even, I mean, you could look at it without looking at religion, just like collective consciousness as a whole, like we're like us as people, like I could be thinking something right now and being interested in something, and somewhere in another part of the world, somebody could be thinking the same thing. Like that way, like collective consciousness isn't like individual consciousness isn't just a unique experience. Like sometimes collective consciousness, we don't have to be grouped together, and like in a religious format, obviously, like someone that's interested in the same religion, they're studying it together, they're practicing together, but like in terms of a collective consciousness, I could be thinking something and not even discussing it with another person, and simultaneously like we are thinking the same thing is kind of what I'm getting at. But yeah. Okay, any other points? Yeah,
I feel like my view is that it's kind of, to me, I feel like structured religion is interesting, or just like religions are interesting because they kind of create like a world in a way, which kind of goes along with ideas of like collective consciousness and stuff like that. But just like it's kind of interesting how like you kind of create a world with like a beginning and end, and create kind of center points of references for people. And so then that just, yeah, so, yeah, interesting question. And I feel like that is kind of a unique, interesting aspect that thing that humans should do, create these worlds, you know? And the idea of like structured like religion stuff, like I feel like ideas that can be applied to things other than just structured religion.
yeah,
And that's, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of interesting, kind of comparing the relationship between like structured religion and science, kind of how both ways of thinking and frameworks kind of like interplay with each other.
thank you.
Okay, so when talking about religion, we wanted to like put a highlight on Buddhism because it has a lot to do with consciousness, and it's a religion that's very like studied and like academized, if that makes sense, if that's a word. So these are like the levels of consciousness you can have when you're a practitioner of Buddhism, and all of these people have the capacity to gain, like, these are in order, so everyone has the capacity to be a Buddha, but it just depends on what level you are in your like devotion and practice and exercise of the religion. So Buddhism sees consciousness as kind of how aware you are of your Buddhahood, and this means if someone has become a Buddha, they are the most aware of their reality, their selfhood, and of course their Buddhahood. So while this is somewhat different from a more general definition of consciousness, it is very closely related. And many traditions of Buddhism disagree upon if practitioners can become Buddhas in a single lifetime or if it takes multiple rebirths. So kind of going off what you're saying, Buddhism definitely creates a start and an end and many different realities. Like in Buddhism, most traditions say that there are 7 realms, and like they sort the realms based on like what and who is like conscious and what in a different way. So there's like ghosts, there's animals, and animals are separate from humans. So it gets kind of complicated, but it definitely is very like organized if you take the time to understand it. And so something that Buddhism does agree on is that when one does become a Buddha, they are like the highest level of consciousness. So looking at like the goal of Buddhism, after people go through the harsh ascetic practices of monks that include shaving your head, renouncing worldly possessions, renouncing any family life or family contact, and adhering to a strict routine of meditation, one can start to participate in the more exclusive and like really difficult practices. So in the Japanese branch of Buddhism called Zen Buddhism, monks must be approved by a master or a teacher to embark on a journey of the marathons. The marathons are different levels and tests of endurance, but once you embark on the marathons, if you fail, you have to commit suicide. So it's a test of endurance, faith, and determination. So 5 or 6 monks complete the 100-day marathon, which is the lowest level challenge, and the monks who have completed the final marathon, which takes 7 years, say that after they're done with their marathon is when their like real true belief and ability to practice this religion actually starts. So after one completes the final marathon, they're able to express their full Buddhahood, and they're truly able to help other devotees to the fullest extent. So overall, there is actually no goal to reach in Buddhism because the belief is maintaining a mindset rather than gaining power, influence, or climbing the ranks of the religion. So while your goal is kind of to climb the ranks of your religion in a way and like become a Buddha, it's not actually, because you're more focused on a state of being present and a state of expressing your Buddhahood, if that makes sense. So looking at religious life, it's very, very collective for professional monks. So basically all mainstream forms of Buddhism, both Japanese and Indian and Chinese, are similar in how devoted people practice their religion in terms of how monks, arhats, bodhisattvas express themselves and engage with the world. So for example, since the beginning of Buddhism, the most dedicated devotees and practitioners, including monks, arhats, and bodhisattvas, have not been able to marry, see their family, must conform and all wear the same robes, and shave their head, and renounce worldly possessions. There are some sects of Buddhism which kind of rebelled and became on like the outskirts where the monks were able to marry, but they're taken less seriously as some of the more mainstream like practices of Buddhism. So this is not a means to strip identities from these practitioners, but more so a way to minimize identity as a construct. Their identity becomes more involved with what level of Buddhahood they have, rather than their identity before devoting themselves to religious life. So it is a shift of identity as opposed to disregarding our old identity. So consciousness through meditation. The psychoscientific lens of meditation shows actually how difficult meditation can be. The goal is to rid one's mind of any thoughts, to have nothing arise, and to have complete control over one's mental state. Meditation is practiced through different ways, which all have the goal of helping the practitioner maintain a clear and empty mind for longer and longer periods of time. The belief is that if one stops thoughts from arising, it helps on the path to enlightenment and aids one in escaping samsara, which is the Buddhist term for the cyclical feeling of suffering and impermanence. So there are different types of meditation, but all three of these meditations are practiced in the marathon that like the most devoted of the devoted go through or put themselves through. So our question, I should put it up here. Do you think consciousness is extended or heightened by meditation based on the presented evidence? Is consciousness something that can expand? We have,
Yeah.
sorry. We have like evidence here from a research journal of like how meditation is actually not just like sitting in a room being bored, but is something that is active and difficult to maintain. So the question is, do you think consciousness can be extended or heightened by meditation, or is it something that can expand? You can also talk about personal experience if that's what you want.
Yeah, just suddenly, what is the problem? Suddenly, I didn't feel the work and work experiences. But of course, I think like understanding the consciousness of the understanding the consciousness is like kind of similar like particular
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like consciousness is something that comes with effort and thought because so much of consciousness is thoughtfulness and intention and a general awareness of like where you stand in the world. Pretty meditative. Even like
I don't feel like I get, and you have to kind of know what it's supposed to feel like, if that makes sense. Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to meditate, but I feel like I don't have strong willpower to like really sit and like reach some goal, but if there's not really even a goal, then like, that's what's difficult for me is the patience and the focus and the hard work that is required.
I've done meditations before. I never like found them helpful, and then I went to a therapist. And she was like, "Oh, I have OCD, so like the meditation for like the opposite of what I want to do, like sitting alone like with my thoughts." So she recommended and said that I do journaling, where it's like you write out your thoughts. Like in a way, it's kind of like a meditation, but you're just pushing it out. You're not keeping it in. You're just making it more visible to yourself, I guess. So like maybe meditation could just take on different forms.
Yeah,
So in a way, like I guess that could still apply.
that definitely feels like a more directed type of meditation, which is interesting. Even like the breaths we take at the beginning of this class have like helped me realize that I actually kind of like just like sitting and being present for like a second. It's helped me focus a lot, which has been cool to discover. Okay, final thoughts.
These are our sources.